Well, after agreeing to sell 51% of South African Airways to a private equity firm, the state will now own a minority stake. The troubled airline was placed under business rescue about 2 years ago following management and financial challenges. SAA's new strategic partner, Takatso Consortium, paid more than $3 billion for the stake. The South African Communist Party spokesperson, Alex Mashilo, joins me now to discuss this matter further. Alex, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. SACP came out vehemently opposing the wholesale privatization of SAA. Now with the announcement of a 51% equity partner in the airline, do you think you won the battle against privatization?
Firstly, the battle against complete liquidation of the SAA so that there was no SAA going forward in South Africa. So we defeated the agenda to liquidate the SAA. Thereafter, a new agenda came about to privatize SAA in whole. We focused on defeating that agenda. We achieved a success in defeating that agenda. But then what happened is that during the budget adjustment in 2020 and the medium-term expenditure framework, the National Treasury cut budgets for other priorities and baseline programs to finance SAA rescue strategy. That invited public anger as those other priorities were important. The National Treasury was pursuing a contractionary fiscal stance in terms of which no new money will be allowed to go into SAA or other priorities. So if you wanted money to support one program, that money was taken from the other programs. Right-wing parliamentary political parties actually supported that stance by the National Treasury. And today we see some opportunists who were complaining about the state supporting SAA financially coming out as if they were in support of SAA. The SACP was consistent throughout the battle, working together with trade unions at SAA. This includes the Cabin Crew Association, the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, and SATAU, the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, and other unions waging the battle. The reality we met on the way at the end of the day is that the National Treasury put its foot down and said that there will be no new money injected in supporting the SAA. So that is the objective reality we found ourselves in. At the end of the day, we succeeded to secure continuing state participation at SAA, but could not defend SAA 100%. That was a victory insofar as the 49% is concerned, but a loss in terms of our strategy insofar as the 51% is concerned. So we are responding to this with that mixed reaction.
I hear the mixed reaction there, Alex, but who had this agenda of liquidating SAA and wholly privatizing it? Who was behind this?
No, there were various other forces. You will know that the head of the National Treasury used his Twitter account to call for the complete winding down of SAA. It was announced publicly that the ashes of the SAA will be used to build a new airline. Political parties, which I will not like to mention them because they are not participating in this interview for purposes of compliance with the press code, came out to support the agenda to not inject any financial support into SAA. Some worker organizations that were also not informed came out to attack any financial funding, not only on SAA, but other state-owned enterprises, calling it a bailout. Our message today as the SACP to the workers as a whole, regardless of their trade union affiliation, is that the working class struggle is indivisible. When you attack financial support to a state entity, you should know that you are attacking the workers who will be affected by liquidation, partial or whole privatization.
Unfortunately, Alex, we do not have a lot of time with this, and I want us to get to this point. Are you comfortable with what is known about Takatso Consortium?
Look, the details are not clear. We don't know how much they acquired the 51% stake for. And I'm sure you two do not know. So that's why I'm saying we are reacting with mixed responses, because on the one hand, we at least managed to secure continued state participation, which is 49%, while on the other hand, 51% is gone to the strategic equity partners, and we do not know how much they paid for that. What we heard is that they will set aside an amount of about 3 billion to 3.5 billion to finance the operation, but as to how much they acquired or obtained the 51% stake for, we don't know. So our message is that the struggle is not over. The struggle continues on that score to obtain clarification and to push forward for a significant state participation, not only in the aviation industry, but also in other strategic sectors of our...
Do you trust Treasury to give you this clarity?
In terms of our rules of good governance, the clarity has to come forward to all South Africans who deserve. We all deserve to know how much the so-called strategic equity partner obtained the 51% with in monetary terms. And if that was not done in monetary terms, we need to know what kind of processes were followed. So this answer is not owed to the SACP, it's owed to the South African public at large, because we are responsible for holding our government to account.
Alex Mashilo, we'll leave it there for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us on that matter.